Gotta thank Yahweh for being the chosen seed of Israel. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the YAH and the faith of Mashiach. Whoa, yeah. I gotta thank Yahweh for being the chosen seed of Israel. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the YAH and the faith of the Mashiach. Hey, whoa.
Shalom, Zion. So I want to bring a word to you today. Something so profound. And I mean prophecy fulfilled and currently being fulfilled and getting ready to be fulfilled. I mean, very powerful. So we're going to call this one, YAH put us into captivity with a strong hand. He will bring us out of captivity with a strong hand. And we're going to be coming from the book of Jubilees, chapter 1. And let's start with verse 14. And it says, "And I will hide my face from them, and I will deliver them into the hand of the other nations." Now notice it said nations because we're not just scattered in America, but we're scattered all over the world. It says, "And I will deliver them into the hand of the other nations for captivity." Now, it's a no-brainer. We know that this has already happened. We are scattered currently. We are scattered to the four corners of the earth. And then it goes on to say, "and for prey and for devouring." Now, I want to focus on these two words because these two words are very, very strong. And what I mean by strong, I mean the type of stuff that we're going through, currently going through. Now, ever since we left our homeland in 70 AD, when we fled to Africa, ever since we left, we've been in a time of Jacob's trouble. It's just increasing more and more. And so we've been in this whole mix, this whole devouring, this whole giving up for prey ever since we left our homeland in 70 AD. Now, just so we can get a better understanding of the word prey and for devouring, you got to understand one thing. Now, I know many of you already know what's happening to us, what's been happening to us, but this word for prey and for devouring. Now, when I think about these words, I think of a fierce animal. I'm talking about a fierce animal just devouring a smaller animal. This animal is just fierce, no conscience, no soul. I mean, he's just devouring that smaller animal with no remorse. That's the way we feel as a people right now. And that's what's happening. We are being preyed on and we are being devoured by our enemies. A people that has no conscience, no soul. Our very enemies. I don't know what it's going to take for our people to realize that, but that's what's happening. Whenever you get a nation of people, heathens, that can take Israelite babies and use them as alligator bait, this is what comes to mind when I think about the word for devouring and for prey. Now, when you go out and buy those alligator skin shoes and that alligator skin purse, just remember who they used to use to draw those alligators and use as bait. Yeah, this actually happened. This stuff is real. And this is what the world does not want you to see. They want us to forget. They want us to forget all the atrocities that ever happened to us as a people. They want us to just turn the other cheek, look the other way. Don't worry about it. We'll just apologize to you, and that'll be good enough. And many of our people are dumb enough to accept that and to let bygones be bygones. But I'm going to tell you something. The Most High never forgets. And all the sins of the heathen nations, their seed and their seed before them, the Most High will bring them to remembrance and will be accounted for and avenged for. Ecclesiasticus chapter 41 and verse 6 says this: the inheritance of sinners' children shall perish, and their posterity shall have a perpetual reproach. You know what that means? That means everything that they have ever done to our people from the very beginning is going to be accounted for. And you better believe that. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, why would the Most High allow his people to go through such extremities? Why would the Most High allow his people to be given up for prey to the heathen nations and for devouring to the heathen nations? Why? Why would he punish us this much? Why would he allow such atrocities to happen to his people? You got to understand something. The Most High says, I am a jealous Elohim. And when we look back on the history of our people, we know that our people had a bad habit of joining with the heathen nations. Now, we were supposed to drive out the heathen nations when you read the book of Joshua, in the very beginning, right when where our people were getting ready to cross over the Jordan. What did the Most High tell them? He says, drive all of them out. He didn't say just drive some of them out and keep the good ones. He says, drive all of those heathens out, because that is going to be your land. But what did our people do? They didn't drive them all out. And guess what? Those people ended up being their oppressors. Let's fast forward. Let's go to Saul, King Saul. The Most High told him again, and I'm talking about our seed, kill those heathen nations. Do not spare. Kill old and young. What did Saul do? Kept the best of them. See, and this is what I'm talking about. And we have failed to obey the Most High time after time, because when the Most High tells us to do something, he is looking out not only for the present, but he's looking out for us for the future. You got to understand that, because hundreds of years later, Babylon would rise up to enslave us. And see, the Most High saw this from the very beginning. But our dumb forefathers just wanted to join with the heathens, serve their gods. So the Most High said, okay, if you want to break my commandments, and you know that I'm a jealous Elohim, and you want to join with the heathen, you want to marry their women and serve their gods, I'm going to turn them over. I'm going to turn you over unto them. I'm going to give you unto the heathens and let them do whatever they please. Zion, do y'all see the end result of what's happening? Do y'all see the decisions of our forefathers that have gotten us into this predicament? Now, do you see why we are being devoured? Why we are being preyed on? Because we are living out our forefathers' decisions, and we're paying for it heavily. But that's going to all turn. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But we got to understand why. Why are we being allowed to go through such atrocities? And the whole world knows that the Negros are the only people on the face of the earth that goes through this. No other race of people go through this. All right? And you can try to say some other races of people go through this, but no, not like we gone through it. Not like that. Show me a nation that was in 7 captivities. Show me any other heathen nation that was fed to the alligators. Y'all know what buck breaking is. What other nation had to go through buck breaking? I mean, we've been through it all, Zion. I mean, I can't even, we can be here for hours and just going into every little detail, but you all get the picture. But because our forefathers moved the Most High to jealousy, he says, I'm going to make you jealous. Now let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 32 and let's look at verse 21. And it says, they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not El. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. Well, what was that? What was those vanities? Worshipping of other gods, worshiping the heathen nations, taking their women, bearing seed with the heathen nations. You name it, they were doing it with the heathen nations. Being like the heathen nations, dressing like the heathen nations, straightening their hair like the heathen nations, being greedy like the heathen nations. Everything the heathen nations did, the Israelites wanted to do. And we were supposed to be the light. We were the head, not the tail, but for some reason we wanted to be the tail. The Most High was like, okay, you want to be the tail? You want to be the poop of the earth? I'm going to make you the poop of the earth. And that's exactly what we have become. The poop of the earth, the lowest, the bottom dwellers. Let's read this again. Verse 21. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not El. They have provoked me to anger with the vanities, and I will move them to jealousy. What was that? It says, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. Y'all hear that? It says with those which are not a people. So in other words, our enemies, Zion, our enemies. He's going to use our enemies to make us jealous. And he has been using our enemies to make us jealous. And it goes on to say, I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. Y'all see how strong that is? With a foolish nation that's not even a people. They're nobody. Like the dirt. But yet we wanted to be like them, and we still want to be like them. Wake up, Israel. What is it going to take? Is it literally going to take an axe to the back of the head to make our people realize what's happening? How come I can't have a nice house like the heathens? How come I can't be prosperous? I want a mansion on a hill. I want to own a company. I want to be at the top. I don't want to be the tail. Why is this happening to me? Why they get all the good stuff? Well, this could have been us. We could have been on the top. We could have been the head and not the tail, but we chose to disobey the Most High. So this is the end result. And the words of the Most High, that he would move us to jealousy using the heathen nations, has hit home like never before. Now let's go back to the book of Jubilees chapter 1. And I'm going to start with verse 14 again. And I will hide my face from them, and I will deliver them into the hand of the other nations for captivity, and for a prey, and for devouring. And I will remove them from the midst of the land, and I will scatter them amongst the other nations. I'm telling y'all, well, this is deep. And we know that ever since our people fled our homeland in 70 AD, it's just been downhill from there. Verse 15. And they will forget all my Torah and all my commandments. So remember when we read in Deuteronomy how it said that when the yokes of iron came off, we would be destroyed as a people. And when you look at all the other captivities, we were together. But this is the only captivity where we were completely destroyed and completely scattered. I mean, just the whole works. And this is why the Most High's power is working, because it is he who is waking our people up. It is He who put us in a captivity, and it will be the Most High who's going to bring us out. So we should never forget that. Read that part again, verse 15. And they will forget all my Torah and all my commandments and all my judgments, and will go astray as to new moons and Shabbats and feasts and jubilees and ordinances. Now, if you notice, we're waking up, but one thing we're not on one accord on many things, and the feast days are one of them. You know, you got the camps who go off the full moon, and then you got people who go off the new moon, and then you got people who they don't celebrate the weekly Shabbat, but they go off the new moon, off the Shabbat, off the moon, which is wrong. It's all wrong. And so we have gone astray with all these things, and feast and jubilees and ordinances. So we're waking up, but we are far from being on one accord. All right, but let's go on, because something else is getting ready to happen here. Something so profound that this is when the Most High is going to begin to hear us. All right, verse 16, and it says, and after this, this is the time that we're living in right now. I mean, the very moment we speak, this is where we at right here. And after this, they will turn to me from amongst the other nations. We know that this is not talking about no other time, but this current time, because what? We are scattered to the four corners. It says, and after this, they will turn to me from amongst the other nations with all their heart and with all their soul and with all their strength. Why? Because that's all we have. We see, Zion, we've gotten to the point where we don't have nothing. We don't have nothing but our faith. That's it. So the only thing we can do is cry out with all our heart, with all our soul, and with all our strength. And it goes on to say, and I will gather them from amongst all the other nations. Y'all hear that? And I will gather them from amongst all the other nations, and they will seek me, so that I shall be found of them, when they seek me with all their heart and with all their soul. So this is where we're at right now. Many of our people are starting to cry out to the Most High. We're getting back to His laws, commandments, and statutes. And we're realizing our heritage. We're getting back. Many of our women who are waking up, they're getting rid of those perms. They're letting their hair grow out naturally. They're not straightening their hair. So slowly we are getting back to where we should be. We still got a ways to go. We still have a lot of work to do. But the good news is this, Zion, our people are waking up, and the Most High is getting ready to turn our captivity. He hasn't turned our captivity yet, but He's getting ready to. So we got to keep on crying out to the Most High, getting back to these laws, commandments, and statutes, because that's important. But just going back to the beginning of verse 16, and after this, they will turn to me from amongst the other nations with all their hearts and with all their soul and with all their strength. That's powerful, Zion, because that lets us know we're so close, because you look at us as a people, we literally have nothing. Like we have been given for prey, for devouring ever since we left in 70 AD. And it's been continuing ever since, Zion. It's just gotten worse. And right now it's almost at its climax, where we're so far at the bottom that it's going to get to the point where we can't go no further. We can't drop no further. This is it. And so we have no other choice. Right now we're flat on our backs looking up. That's the way we are. We're flat on our backs looking up, because we have no one to speak for us. And I'm talking about the earthly representations. We know that the Most High speaks for His people, but remember, He's allowing us to go through this because of our disobedience. We don't have a political system. We don't have an army. We don't have anything of value but our faith. That's it. So many of our people are left with no other choice but to cry out with all their heart, with all their strength, and with all their soul. And when you look at Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 34, it confirms what the Most High is going to do. He put us into captivity. Guess what? He can take us out. And that's why I don't get why people feel like they got to flee somewhere out of fear, or they feel like they have to gather themselves up when the Most High said that He's going to do it. Because guess what? Did we volunteer to go into captivity? Did we volunteer to be a slave all over the world and to be captive to all the heathen nations? No, we didn't. The Most High said in His word that because we drew Him to jealousy, because we wanted to worship idols and follow after the heathen nations, He would put us into captivity and drive us to jealousy and give us up for devouring and give us up for prey. And that's exactly what's been happening to us. And some of you may look at the Most High and say that that's unfair, that's mean. But no, it's not. It's not unfair and it's not mean. You know, this is what we did to the Most High because we could have had the best. The Most High, all the Most High wanted to do is give His people the best. But we slapped Him in the face and said, to hell with your ways. We want to go our own ways. We want to screw all the heathens we can and have mixed babies by them. We want to worship their idols, not your idols. You know, forget your feast days. We want the heathens' hella days. So you see why, Zion? You see why it was necessary for us to go through this? So look at Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 34. And it says, and I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered. Get this, with a mighty hand, because think about it. He put us into captivity with a mighty hand. So He's going to bring us out with a mighty hand. And it goes on to say, and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. Then he goes on to say, and I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. So whether you want to believe it or not, whether you think it's a myth, the Most High is going to gather His people. Now, you can be impatient all you want to and feel like you got to flee somewhere. That's fine. You're gonna see what happens with that. But our people do not want to wait. For some reason, many of our people do not want to wait on the Most High, and then we take matters into our own hands. Trust me on this, Zion. The Most High put us into captivity. He is going to bring us out. You can believe that. We just got to have faith. We got to believe it, and we got to be patient. All right, we got to be patient because the Most High does not move on our time. He's coming on His time. Now, we see the signs that are happening. We see everything that's going on. And we are definitely, no one can say, no awakened Israelite cannot say that we're not in the beginning of the end. We are definitely in the beginning of the end. We are seeing all the pieces moving together. We might not exactly know how it's going to all come about, but we do know that these nations are slowly falling. They're breaking down from the inside. And it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And it's happening. So that hammer is getting ready to drop, Zion. And we ain't seen nothing yet. And we have to keep digging in the Most High's word like hidden treasures. Trust only in the Most High. Trust in His word. Everything He has taught us is in His word for our learning. Trust no man. Let YAH be true and let every man be a liar. So with that being said, Zion, I really pray that you are edified. I pray that you continue to dig into His holy word. Pray for our people. Continue to help our homeless brothers and sisters, whatever you can do. If you see a homeless brother and sister on the street, they hungry, go buy them some food. Don't take much. But we got to start loving our own people like never before. Because If we don't love our own people, Zion, nobody else will. And that's a fact. So, with that being said, I say shalom and stay strong.
Here's the passion of the saints. Here are they to keep the commandments of the YAH and the faith of the Mashiach. Oh, hey, whoa. I'm here to encourage you, brothers and sisters, trying to paint to you a better picture. Everything I say, I back it up with the scriptures to get you out the matrix. It's been over 400 years of lies. You gotta open up your eyes, 'cause there's so many reasons we in captivity. You gotta flee from the heathens. There is hope in our future, even though they trying to do us in. But we live to fight another day. Vengeance is YAH. We'll be praying for Yahuwah's day. Gotta thank Yahuwah for being the chosen seed of Israel. Here's the patience of the saints. Whoa. Here are they to keep the commandments of the YAH, and the faith of Mashiach. Oh, whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah. I gotta thank Yahuwah for being the chosen seed of Israel. Here's the passion of the saints. Here are they to keep the commandments of the YAH and the faith of the Mashiach. Oh, whoa, hey, hey, whoa, whoa. Do, do, da, da, da. Do, be, do, be, do, be, do, da, da. Do, be, do, 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 da, da.